My no-good-for-nothing, rotten, jealous sister tried to insult me and my fiancé over social media, but that's not the end of it. She did not stop there. After we told her to please stop and take down these posts, she made 3 more posts. Well, now me and my husband are going for her for defamation. And there's one thing I never told my family. My fiancé is a judge. I'm 24 female, and my fiancé, 32 male, who we're going to call Adam for this story, have been going out for the last 8 months. He's an absolute sweetheart who goes above and beyond for the people he loves, including me. He's also a hard worker who loves his job, and he's got a pretty promising future as a judge. Everyone respects him at work, and I'm really proud of him. As for me, I'm an accountant in a rather large firm, which I won't say the name. So we're financially well off. Unfortunately for us, my sister, 21 female, who we're going to call Amy, hates my fiancé's guts, and mine, but I'm used to it. Even though she kinda kept silent about it and was just implicitly rude to him every time they met since I've introduced him, she's a secretary at a small medium firm, which is a sore spot for her since I do have a better position. Just so you know, I'm genuinely not looking down on her job or her firm. She's always been the princess of the family, especially when we were kids. She's the pretty sibling and has always been that way. So people would compliment her all the time when we were young growing up. Because of that, she ended up entitled adult who believes that she deserves full credit and rewards for her beauty. So, my family doesn't help her case since they still praise her for every little accomplishment of hers. Washing her underwear herself or putting her own plate in the dishwasher, for example, and give in to any of her demands. She's a spoiled kid in an adult woman's body. Before I keep going, I want to make 3 things clear. 1. My sister is an able-bodied and able-minded as far as I know. 2. I'm by no means the family black sheep to compensate for my sister being the golden child. I'm treated well and incredibly loved, just not as pampered as my baby sister. I'm thankful for it because I at least did not end up like her. Number 3. She doesn't know that my fiancé is a judge. The last one is what got her into what she deserved, this mess of a situation in the first place. Another reason why Amy hates my fiancé is that he's African American. My sister's blatant racism is another thing my family keeps allowing when they should not. Even though they've tried to kindly, well, too kindly, reason with her over it a few times. It did nothing, so they kinda gave up. Personally, I straight up fought with her over it for a few times. So yeah, my sister basically hates my and my fiancé's guts because we both have high-paying jobs. Although she doesn't know exactly what his is. And because he's black, you get what kind of person she is already, don't you? Fortunately, the rest of my family likes him. Anyways, a bit more than a month ago, my then-boyfriend Adam proposed to me and now he is my fiancé. I announced it to the family in the next morning. Needless to say, they were absolutely over the moon. Their first daughter was engaged to a good man. My mother literally cried tears of joy, babbling over the phone about me being well grown up. I admit I cried a little too, I couldn't hold it in. We gathered that some nights for a family dinner at a nice restaurant. Everyone was looking extremely happy and congratulating me, except for Amy, who had a big sour look on her face. She clearly did not even want to be there, and I'm pretty sure my mom somehow convinced her to go. Dinner time was perfect, although Amy did drink a lot, probably to try to drown her sorrows after the news, and with every new glass, she tried increasingly harder to get everyone's attention on herself. For example, she even had the audacity to try to turn a conversation about how I met my fiancé into one about her recent achievements of figuring out how to work the new high-tech printer at her job. Then she insisted on pouring my and my fiancé's next glass, quote, for good fortune in your relationship. Dinner ended and everyone went home. with my parents dragging my very much drunk out of her mind sister to the car, and with great difficulty. I heard she puked on my mom while they were dragging her home afterwards. Well, I slept incredibly well that night, knowing that I'm loved by the people that matter to me the most. And except my sister, but I honestly don't mind that much, to be honest. Sadly, what was waiting for me the next morning was, very unexpected. She might as well have dropped an actual literal bomb on us. I woke up to my phone completely blown up with notifications. Text messages from Amy, Adam, and most of my friends and family. I started reading Adam's first, and I swear I could feel the blood draining from my face as I did. He was extremely angry, not at me, but at Amy. He sent me a bunch of links to social media posts, and I tapped the last one I got, and it led to Amy's most recent Facebook post, which was really long last rant for tonight. About what a pig my fiancé is for dating someone outside of both his race and age range, as she believed an 8-year gap basically made him a creep, since I was 10 when he turned 18. I don't want to discuss anyone's opinion on this in the comments. My romantic choice concerns only me and my romantic person. In other posts, she kept insisting that he always looked at her in, quote, clearly suspicious ways, and I wasn't sure what that meant, but anyways, she started mentioning her chest a bit later in the post. Yeah, she's well endowed in that department, and she just also stated that I, quote, nobody makes that much money while staying clean. Reminder that she doesn't even know what his job is, LOL. The rest of the links all led to posts on diverse social media platforms, and they all are ferociously attacking Adam, without exception. He asked me to schedule a meeting between the two of us and Amy to discuss the consequences of her defamation. He did not have her number, but I doubt he would have called her even if he did. He doesn't like tackling personal problems when he's dealing with strong emotions. I had to go through a mountain of text messages from family and friends before I even reached my conversation with my sister. Most of them were concerned, although some were just mocking and condescending, which is making my revalue of the friendship. I finally reached my sister's text messages, which I mostly expected to be full of apologies after she sobered up some. Nope. I should have known better and expected less from her. It was just another series of extremely insulting messages towards Adam. She went into a full drunken essay of why, even though I don't deserve much anyways, I'm essentially easy for choosing someone like him, and we look like a pair of clowns together. I was fuming nearly as much as Adam was at this point, so I tried to call her, but she declined my first 3 calls. She actually picked up at the 4th one and immediately says, "What do you want?" with this snotty tone. I asked her, why the heck did she do all that, and I request that she deletes the post before the situation blows up even more out of proportion than it already has. Then she has the nerve to say, no, and hung up the phone. I received a new text from Adam while trying to reach my sister asking if I've managed to arrange the meeting with her. It had completely slipped my mind, so I tried to get a hold of her again. You can guess how that went. Unreachable. I explained to Adam, who had calmed down a small bit at that point after discussing it, and despite my reluctance as I did not want to involve more people than necessary, I called my mom and asked her to pass the phone to Amy. She also showed a lot of reluctance at first, but she ended up calling Sister Dearest, who greeted me again with the same snotty tone as the first time. I told her that Adam wanted the 3 of us to meet and talk about her post. She answered that there was nothing to discuss, and I told her that Adam wanted the 3 of us to meet, and that she simply stated her opinion, which she has the freedom to do. Well, I had to explain to her that freedom of choice and defamation of character are 2 very different things, and that Adam said he would not hesitate to sue her for defamation if she refused to at least delete her post. That's when she went absolutely silent. "He's not serious, is he?" was her first sentence after about 30 seconds of silence, so I replied, Adam is a judge, and is therefore always serious about things like this, and that he's pretty much never making empty threats, especially about legal issues." She went silent for even longer than the first time before speaking out, a judge?" That was when my mom butted in to take the phone and also worriedly ask whether he was really serious. So, I repeated myself, and Mom tried to take my sister's side, insisting that the drunken post should not qualify as defamation, that my sister didn't mean any of the things she wrote, and that she barely had any social media followers or friends anyways. I could hear Amy yelling in protest when Mom said that, which made me crack a little smile. I felt bad for it afterwards, but come on, it was funny. Seeing as convincing my sister to delete the post was harder than I thought, I asked her again to at least meet me and Adam to discuss the matter between grown adults. She said yes through tears, and I made sure to make her understand that this was very urgent, and that we had to meet the very same day. We scheduled a meeting for the afternoon. Adam and I nervously sipped coffee while awaiting for my sister. After a good 20 minutes of her being late, I tried to call her. Then Mom neither picked up. I tried 4 times with each of them, and twice with my fiance's phone, but it led nowhere. Mom has my fiance's number and must have given it to Amy so she'd recognize it. As a last resort, I tried to message Amy through her social media account. To my surprise, I could not access her account. I asked Adam to try, but he couldn't either. For a moment, I believed that she had not only deleted her post, but also off of her account. Unlike most people, I don't have an alternative account, for no reason other than I don't have the need to, since I like to keep all my contacts on the same account, which I still haven't posted on. And neither does Adam. Mostly for the same reasons, making one would have to be a hassle, especially if my hunch about her very simply blocking us was correct. Well, as you can probably guess, some platforms allow you to block future accounts made by the same person. I'm not sure how that even works, but I didn't want to waste time for nothing. I called a friend my sister did not know and asked her to check the account, and yep, as you can guess, it was right there. She had just blocked us so we would not be able to see her post anymore. I'm guessing she went through my friends and follow list to find Adam's account. Worse, yeah, she made a new post mocking us, especially my fiancé, and she doubted that we actually wanted to meet to talk about the post. At this point, I wasn't sure what that meant, and I still don't think I even want to know. Adam and I were absolutely fuming at this point. She publicly insulted us and took us as idiots. I couldn't even disagree when he told me that he'd actually be suing her at this point. I couldn't see another solution, no matter how messy that one would be, so he went ahead with my full support and filed a complaint. We did not contact her until she was obviously finally notified about the complaint, as she drunkenly started banging on our door one morning. I'm pretty sure she never had a drinking problem before chaos night. That day was a hard day off for Adam and me, but it should have been a work day for her as far as I can remember. We figured out from that and the angry knocking that she had been served with a copy of the complaint. Adam was the one to open the door for her. She looked as drunk as after the pre-chaos celebration dinner. She starts yelling about how it was unfair. Unfair that we were suing her, especially since she didn't know that Adam is a judge. We had to explain to her that judge or not, what she did was still defamation. Defamation does not apply only to judges and anyone can sue for it. She then went from angry yelling to desperate brawling, begging us to drop the charges against her and promising that she will delete the post. At this point, I did feel bad for a moment, But I was the first one to firmly say no when I remembered that she took us as idiots one time too many by blocking us and referring to us to show up to discuss the matter. Adam looks surprised because I'm not usually this firm. She keeps begging, but we had none of it. We're both tired of her messing with us, and she went home. And it wasn't long after we both received text from her. Finally, she wanted to unblock us, telling us that she had really deleted the post this time and unblocked us from all social media. We checked, and she did. So, I also received texts from my parents asking us how we could do that to my sister and how it would affect her future. Dad's text message especially read like he was fuming while writing it. I politely explained that my sister had publicly defamed and mocked us in addition to refusing to delete her post until we filed said complaint. If not now, she could have done it at any time and to anyone in the future, since the current problem showed very well what kind of person she truly is. The truly is part must have struck hard, because his reply was to tell me that he knew who his other daughter really is, but he's unsure about who I am. I didn't even bother to reply, and Adam ignored the text messages altogether. Again, he isn't one to deal with problems while they're too fresh unless absolutely necessary. The evening of the very same day, yes, the past month has been very eventful, and not in a good way. I received a bunch of text messages from Amy. Again, I expected a bunch of apologies, and all I got was a bunch of disappointments. The texts were full of more insults than any of the previous ones. I never knew my sister was capable of holding on to grudges, more than to her chances of winning a trial, which were already meager to begin with, and I swear she never stops to think. Adam, whose numbers she had now, received pretty similar text. While we were discussing them, we heard a splattering sound against the window, then saw something yellow and slimy running down the glass. Someone just threw an egg at her window, and then started yelling insults so loudly that we could hear them from the couch. We could already guess who it was, but Adam still went to look through the door. And, well, yep, it was my baby sister, who now looked and sounded way too sober to be doing this kind of stuff this time. When she saw him look through the window, she immediately started attacking with another egg. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for us. I frankly don't care about her future any more than she seemed to do so, and Adam immediately took out his phone and called the police. It didn't take us long before they arrived and arrested her. Naturally, she tried to fight back and even slapped one of the officers, and just as naturally, it did not help her case, because she was handcuffed and dragged to the police car before they drove off with the crazy harpy. There were quite a few heads poking out from the neighboring windows as that scene was unfolding, and a few chuckles were even heard. Maybe one of them was my own. We got a few hours of peace before I got a call from Mother. When I picked up, she screamed my ears off about how heartless I am, and my fiancé too, and we're just teaming up like that against my sister when all she did was mess around a bit with us. It was totally harmless compared to what they just did to her, and we're absolute monsters. She then demanded that we drop all charges against my sister if we wanted to keep in touch with my family, or else they'd all, according to my mother, cut ties with us. At that point, I was completely fed up and just wanted to enjoy the euphoria of my engagement, which my sister had taken away from me once again. I told her to go ahead and hang up. I now have 12 missed calls and a headache, and I'm not planning to pick up the phone until it goes away. So my question to you guys is, am I the a-hole for getting my sister arrested? That's, well, sort of publicly humiliated, but that's her fault, after she trash-talked my fiancé and me on social media. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. So this story has 2 more updates. We are going to jump into update 1. I hope you're enjoying this wild story so far. If you are, consider subscribing to the channel, and here is update number 1. First of all, thanks to everyone who commented on this post, regardless of your verdict. I have news regarding the situation. My family, including my sister, have switched tactics. They went from aggressively threatening us to try to apologize to us, and my family offering to meet and discuss it between mature adults. They also said that they would make Amy post a public apology on any social media of our choosing. So, we stood our ground and replied that she had simply gone too far, and that even if we were to drop the charges, she would still be in trouble for slapping that officer. Even if she hadn't, too much damage was already done to us and she only had herself to blame. So, they kept on begging us to at least meet, so we ended up accepting. My sister was still in custody and she could not come. It happened the very morning after she got arrested. So it was just me, Adam, and my parents. I don't have any other siblings other than the star of the post. We sat down in my parents' living room around 4 cups of coffee. There was some hesitation before my parents finally talked, but it went a little something like this. I'll be paraphrasing a lot because I wasn't going to memorize an entire unscripted conversation on the flizzy. But I promise I'm doing my best not to accidentally add or forget anything important. Mom, we just want you to know that we're really sorry. We didn't know Amy really thought all that, and we just thought she wrote these posts as a drunken prank to the two of you. As I already told you, she sounded really sorry when she called us, and we'll make sure to make her write a public apology if you drop all the charges. Adam replied before I could.
Oh, madam, as I'm sure you're aware, your daughter wrote those insulting public posts on more than one occasion. She also refused to civilly discuss the issue with us or take down the post until the matter took proportions that she could no longer manage. To add insult to injury, she threw eggs at our window, publicly screamed insults at us, resisted arrest, and slapped a darn police officer in his face. I understand your worries as her mother, but I believe that an adult should know better than this, and as we told you, I doubt that the police officer would turn a blind eye to what she did, even if we did.
Father says,
Actually, we wanted to talk about that too.
My mom elbowed him in the arm when he said that, but he just yelped before continuing as if nothing happened.
Yeah, as I was saying, we wanted to talk about the whole matter with the officer. Adam, you're a judge, right?
Well, yeah, why do you ask?
Well, if you did forgive Amy, is there anything you'd be able to do about the situation with the police officer? We're really willing to do anything. You'll be a father someday, so you can try to understand me, right, boy?
I was expecting a little after Mom's elbowing him, but Adam looked a little shocked as he replied,
Absolutely not.
You can imagine how the rest went. They argued, first gently, then a bit more insistently. However, they never yelled or showed any aggression at all. Mostly because Mom made sure to cut Dad off every time he started to show signs that he was getting frustrated. Eventually, we got tired, and after that, we thought it was over. So we went home. I get a text from Mom on her way saying, "Sorry for today. Is there really no way you two would drop it?" I'm still ignoring it because I'm fuming, and more because of Dad's question than anything else. I might, and I really mean might, have considered dropping everything and forgiving my sister just for the sake of my parents if he had not dropped that on us like it was no big deal. I'm going to get emotional for a second here. If that's not your thing, please stop reading this until the next update, if there is one. I just need to feel for a few minutes that I can rant to someone other than Adam and my remaining friends who are already as stressed as I am, especially Adam. I want to stop feeling like it's us against the world and that I can scream back at the world a little bit, so here it goes. I said before that I was never the black sheep of the family, and that I had a good relationship with them despite their coddling of my little sister and all the inequalities of how they treated us. I never thought it ran that deep. I thought that they just babied and spoiled her because she was younger, but I never thought they truly preferred her to me. Especially not to the point of accusing her brutal insults and attack towards us, and even asking Adam to use his position to get her out of trouble with something else. They know that it would jeopardize his future as a judge, but they're willing to put the relationship of the man I love on the line for Amy. I feel like she matters more to them than I ever could, and it's honestly just straight up depressing. I feel like I've lost them, and I'll probably keep feeling like that even if things get magically, quote, repaired. And they somehow end up agreeing with us, because the other way around will never happen. I'm the first one to feel sympathy for people who lose touch with or have to cut off toxic family members. But I never imagined that it would hurt this much, to even consider it. Sorry for the depression, I don't know. It's a depressing segment, I know. Seeing how messy this whole situation is, I'll probably be back with another update. I just can't know when or guarantee that I'll update right away if I'm too emotional when it all happens. Update number 2. I'm back. Sorry that it took so much time. Amy's facing a lot of trouble for slapping that police officer and is actually facing jail time for it. She's a serious little mess right now and is begging us to help her. Adam, though, doesn't want to get involved in a case he's got nothing to do with, as it could seriously impact his job and more. The most we can do is drop her off her own charges against her, and we're kind of considering it at this point, seeing her state. I can tell she's doing awfully and is very stressed right now. While I can't know whether she's truly meant her apology and has really changed, I'm as human as anyone else and don't want to make things worse than they already are for her. I've yet to discuss this with Adam, but I can tell that he feels the same. I think I'll ask him now. This update is just more to give the courage to do it than really to say anything more interesting than my sister's situation. Sorry that this is not a huge update. What's up everybody, Mr. Reddito checking back in one more time to tell you. I am here now with the final update. It took some time, but finally OP posted update number 3. Back again. Did you miss me? I'm not sure how you guys are going to react to this, but hey, we ended up dropping the charges. However, Amy still served time in jail and also had to pay a fine for assaulting an officer of duty. Adam refused to get involved in the case, and I support that decision. My family did not take it well, but they at least coldly thanked us for dropping our down case. I know this isn't very interesting of an update, but this update comes later than the rest because there's more. My family essentially cut ties with us after Amy's guilty verdict. No text messages, no phone calls, and I would not be shocked to learn that they've blocked us both. My sister served her time and paid her fine, and we didn't hear from her after some time. Until a few weeks ago. She came and knocked on our door. Adam opened it, but I was nearby and saw her. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to slam the door in her face, but I was scared of what her visit was for. But the other part wanted to know just that. So I ended up staying frozen in place, too scared to actually do anything. She was looking down as she started apologizing to us. She looked genuinely sorry this time. I finally got up and invited her inside, and she hesitated before accepting. To be honest with you guys, I was hesitant to invite her in myself, and Adam just had this poker face. And he said, "Come in." And she didn't know what to do with herself until I invited her to sit on the couch, and we could talk about the motive of her visit. Her voice was trembling, but she somehow did not cry. She explained that her time in jail helped her understand she's not invincible, that the world's not actually at her feet, and that she's an accountable person for her actions as anybody else is for their own. She actually said that she's a little bit happy it happened, even though she has regrets about how it went down. She also insisted that she did not come onto Mom and Dad's order. In fact, she said that they don't want anything to do with us anymore. She came without telling them and admitted that she wasn't sure whether she was courageous enough to tell them that she disagreed with them on this. I decided that it was her choice to make on that, even though I think she should be strong enough against them. It's not my place to influence her. It took some time, but my relationship with my sister is kind of mended for the most part. I'm still upset about after what she's done, but I try to tell myself that everyone deserves a redemption arc. She still hasn't told my parents about our mostly repaired sisterly bond, which is actually more newly formed, not repaired. And I can't entirely blame her for it. She lost her job and is struggling to find a new one after everything that happened. And she doesn't have a place to stay, and my parents turn against her as well. In a sense, they've got their own blame to take for what happened. They never gave her the tools she needed to be a responsible adult, and they allowed the consequences of their inequitable parenting to snowball into the events that unfolded after Chaos Night, as I still like to call it. I know she was still an adult with the ability to realize her flaws and work on them, but still, I can't help but feel like we were both hurt by their poor parenting, which I only see now. This is my friendly reminder to all parents reading this not to coddle your children or treat them unequally unless you want one of them to end up in jail or prison, and the others to never talk to you again. So, aside from this, Adam and I are planning to get married soon. It's kinda bittersweet since I don't have a family to celebrate with. Aside from Amy, who's not 100% sure that she'll be able to attend due to her circumstances, which I can't totally blame her for. Well, anyways, I'm considering discussing with Adam whether we should let her move in with us for a while. We're still in the planning and stages, and I don't have a definite list of guests since we both lost friends in this whole mess. Yes, Adam even did. And some of them are in the gray zone between still friends and snakes. Our lives are slowly calming down again, so we're at least grateful for that. I really hope this will finally be my final update, and that nothing worth mentioning here will happen after this unless my parents get a redemption arc too. That'll probably take a while, which means I shouldn't count on seeing them at my wedding, and I'm okay with that. I wish I could see the kind of people who supported me before during this heck of a journey here, but I doubt that'll even be possible. Still, thank you for all the kind words and support. I appreciate it more than you could ever imagine, especially with how vulnerable you can imagine I was feeling. And they say internet friendships don't count. Anyways, logging off. Thank you guys for everything once again, and I sign out with saying, ciao. Amy. Oh, Amy. Amy might be one of the craziest people we've come across in these stories. I mean, she slapped a police officer, and everything she did in her life was just straight up toxic. It made no sense, and now she's actually in jail for it. Guys, I want to know exactly from you guys, if you were in the position of OP and the fiancé, would you press charges too? Would you drop the charges? There's so many questions I want to ask you guys about this story. This one was a crazy one, but hey, I think karma paid off in the end. Drop your thoughts down below, guys. If you're new to the channel, my name's Mr. Reddito. I read stories every single day, talking about some very dramatic topics that you can find on the World Wide Web. If that sounds like something you're into, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have an amazing day, and, well, yeah, I'll see you then.